All right. Welcome back to another episode of Whatchu Spinnin. This is episode 54. We're here at the Snake Pit, Jake the Snake's house.
That's right.
Jay chilling. We're ready. It's Sunday. It's hot, and we're here to drop some hot knowledge about music on y'all and have a good time. Mm-hmm. As per usual, I'm Dorian, joined as always by Jake and Matt. How you fellas doing today?
Hello, we're doing
good.
Well.
Hell yeah.
We all got the summer shorts on.
Yes, we are supporting the shorts.
Thighs out, guys out. Fucking.
Let's go.
We got this. Really interesting music to talk about today. It'll be good.
Yeah, I think so.
Kind of went all over the place. It's a good sign when we can just kind of be like, well, anybody can go in any order. It doesn't matter because all of our shit is like just kind of offshoots.
I like that we all have like live instruments in our albums. Like they're all like kind of bands.
Yeah.
They're all bands.
Yeah, and from different parts of the world and different kind of. I mean, Matt, yours and mine are like a year apart, but they, as we'll get into, they sound nowhere near like that.
Yeah, exactly.
But let's kick off the fucking festivities today, guys. And with that, we're gonna have Jake go first. His first time bringing up an album he does not own.
Yeah, that's right. So my album. This is my album.
You just have a cassette of it. You're like, my dad gave me this cassette.
It's just a floppy disk. So it's Maná. Dónde Jugarán los Niños. This album, it's so special to me, to my family, to a lot of people. It came out in 92, right? Yes, 1992. Maná, not surprisingly, but is like considered, I guess, one of the biggest rock Latin artists of all time. Which is crazy to think about because I used to hate Spanish music in general because I was like, this is lame, my parents are listening to this, I'd never listen to this. But now, I mean, I grew up and I was like, damn, this is actually cool. Just fucking grow up, little me, like thinking that shit's lame. But no, this album, Maná, like this group, before they used to be called a different name.
Sombrero Verde.
Yeah, Sombrero Verde.
6 years. Yeah.
Which is sick.
Yeah.
That's a tight name, too.
Means just a green sombrero.
Yeah.
Who knows why? And they changed it to Maná, which is rice. or not rice, corn.
Oh, my God.
But, no, one of the biggest rock Latin groups to come out from Mexico, from Latin America, and definitely one of their biggest albums. I have a lot of appreciation for it. And what do you guys think? I know it probably your guys' first time listening to something like this.
Yeah. It's all over the place. There's a lot going on with it, and to hear kind of I made the joke to both of you guys. I was like, this is like if Tony Hawk Pro Skater was Spanish. Like if it was just like Spanish Tony Hawk. Like you get into the first track and it's like, man, I just want to fucking skate. It's just and to kind of touch. I didn't want to cut you off earlier, but that's kind of something that's cool about if you grow up, more musically inclined and your parents listen to music a lot, and you do kind of get that, oh, fuck this, like I don't like it, and then you get into your 20s or whatever, and you're like, oh, that shit actually is rad.
Yeah.
Like, my mom used to play like Purple Rain by Prince all the time, and I only ever really liked When Doves Cry off of it, but now that album is like one of my favorite albums ever put out. So it is kind of funny, and it's not necessarily like, oh, this album aged well. It's like, no, I just said, fuck it. You get bored one day and you're like, let me give it a shot.
Yeah.
What was that one band?
And you're like, well, my parents were actually kind of cool. Like, they listen to this, like, yo, you guys were actually cool as hell.
Yeah. But no, just to go back to this album, it's so, there's just, like I said, there's a lot going on with it, very different, you've got a lot of slow songs on it, and then there's, stuff that isn't slow, it was like very much like a party kind of vibe, and that was, and it doesn't sound like it came out in 1992. It sounds like it could have been like throw a dart on a year and it could have come out yesterday. It could have come out in the 80s. Like, it's very just well-rounded, in my opinion. I was very, very impressed by this, so thank you for bringing it up.
Oh yeah.
And that's cool that you found an appreciation for it later on.
Mm-hmm.
And this is one of their better albums. I think this is like their top selling album. Like you were saying earlier,
Yeah.
they're huge, sold out when they probably still do sell out when they tour. And this album's so cool. Like Dorian said, it kind of goes all over the place, but like just when you think it can't get any better, it does.
Mm-hmm.
With the track, I think it's the second one, Oi Mi Amor.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
After that song ends, you're like, and then it picks up and keeps going, and then Vivier Sin Air, and you're like, is it getting any better? And then after that, it does. And like El Deserito, I'm butchering these names. I apologize. I knew Jake was gonna like that part about the cast today.
Yeah, it was a conversation we had. Matt's like, dude, Jake's gonna flame us the fuck up.
Yeah,
like, we're gonna butcher this.
I'm just not gonna say the titles. I'm gonna let you guys do it.
Yeah.
Just let me do it like that one time.
And then they end the album with Mi Valet. It's just so
Yes,
good,
dude.
It's I had that going in my head all weekend.
Mm-hmm.
But what a cool introduction to this band, and it is from the '90s, and it has that feel. But the music is, I feel like, a little bit timeless. Like you could play it today in the right setting with the right people, and be like, "Fuck, these are good musicians, and they're flowing together, and they're singing beautiful. They're making beautiful music." This album was great, all around.
Yeah, no, it's definitely, I got a lot of an appreciation for it now that I'm a little bit older, because my parents would always listen to this. Like there was a lot of artists that they'd be playing, and a lot of styles of music, but this would always come up, and it was typically the slower songs, like Oye Mi Amor or Revitsi Naire, or La Chula. Like a lot of the slower songs, they would always play them. And I know pretty much all the lyrics to all those songs, because of it. But now that I'm older, I've appreciated it a lot more. I feel like a lot of my friends do, and family members too. I was talking to my dad about this yesterday, and he's like, I listened to them a lot. He almost had a chance to go see them live in '96. He said, because they toured and they went to Mexico City in Mexico, and he almost went to go see them, but he didn't get tickets.
Damn.
But that was a possibility that
in
he
the
had.
homeland.
Yeah,
that would have been fucking off the chain.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, they're
cool
based off of from Guadalajara, Mexico. So, it would have been a crazy life experience. But just growing up with them, it's kind of something that I'm like, oh, my parents listen to this. It's whatever. But I'm looking, and I was reading up on it, and it's crazy how massive they are. Like they have literally, this is the best-selling Spanish rock album of all time. It's one of the best-selling Latin music artists of all time as well. The most successful band. Their awards, they won 4 Grammys, 8 Latin Grammys, 5 MTV Music Video Awards, 6 Premios Juventud, like so many fucking awards and accolades. Like
they're like a Vietnam War vet, just accolades out the ass.
Yeah, dude, it's nuts. It's fucking crazy, and I never would have thought of it because I'm like, oh, this is just something my parents listen to, and every parent listens to. But then you're like, wait, every parent has listened to this, and that's why, because they're so massive. But yeah, man, it's an album that I've wanted to own for the longest time. It's stupid expensive.
It is stupid expensive.
How much
I
are
was
we
looking it
talking?
up, man. Even the different versions, whether they're from Colombia or Peru or whatever, they're still in the couple $100 range.
Yeah, it's like over $100 for stuff that, and it's like not even like new.
It's not.
It's
Yeah,
like
it's
used.
yeah.
So if I end up getting one that's not in bad shape and that's good price potentially maybe, but yeah, definitely this is one of those that is timeless to me. I have so many memories with. I remember going camping with my family, and this being in the background and someone's booming, like someone's speaker, or us going to pool parties and just listening to this with family. So definitely a lot of meaning to me.
Well, I can tell why. It's rare, because I did a little bit of a deep dive as well and saw all of that, and that this charted at the top, or it was like number 2 on the Latin American US like billboards and stuff like that, and it's rare that you can listen to something and tell like the overarching influence that the album had on everybody. And you would kind of you had kind of teased that before. You were like, no, this album's like means a lot to me, and then to like a lot of people I know and everything. And it's like, well, shit, I can tell why, because it's massive and meaningful. And there was multiple times like this morning doing my notes, I was just sitting there with my eyes closed doing the Stevie Wonder head, just sitting there vibing. Te Ore Un Rio, like I love that song.
Yes.
I don't know why, like, and so the last part of this album is kind of, you mentioned Mi Vale. The last part of this album is very interesting to me because it slows way down, and then that's the last song on it, and it's just like speeds up again, and you're like, again, as you're listening to it, you're like, wow, this just keeps getting better, and then you're like, oh, well, like, now I'm kind of sad. Like, this is kind of like a slower part of the album, and then it's just like, hey, like, it gets you going. It's like, fuck yeah, all right.
Me Vale is such a good ending.
It
to
is.
The album.
It's a great way to end the album.
And it's cool because this album, they swapped out guitarists.
Really?
So
I read that.
They had Cesar Vampiro
right.
Lopez, which he's like a crazy good guitarist. And they like open up that last song. It's like Échale Vampiros, like they're kind of just saying like like go off.
Hell yeah.
The whole album, it has just so many staples of Maná, of the band, that they're like the best hits. And it's pretty much this album. Like, this whole album has just hits on hits.
This is the one.
Yeah, this is the one. Really.
I love it. So good. If someone were interested in listening to more of them, is there another album you would recommend, or is this, like, obviously this is the pinnacle, like, this is the fucking cream of the crop?
Yeah, this is the best one. If you're gonna listen to Maná and you're gonna get into it, listen to this album. Their first one that they did, that has Vivicin, or no, that's on this. What song is that? They have a song that's also really big, Rayando el Sol, so Falta Amor.
Okay.
I think that's their debut, I want to say. Yeah, that's their debut, Falta Amor. That's also a good album, but this one definitely, it has everything you're looking for. This album, it has rock aspects, it also has ska and reggae. So some of the songs you hear that they're slower and they have kind of a reggae feel. Yeah. Which is what's cool about it too. They're not just just one thing. They kind of do a little bit of everything. But yeah, definitely if you're looking to get into some Spanish rock, I feel like this is a good place to start. Something mainstream, something everyone's heard of.
Yeah. And it's very cool to hear something like this, if you're interested. And even if you've listened to a lot of, Spanish music from any country, from what I've gathered and noticed, based off of like the playlist that you've shown me and the other things, is that it's Spanish is considered a romantic language. And so that's what they write about a lot, is like, so like a lot of the popular stuff is like ballads, love songs, shit like that. Yeah. And so it was very interesting to hear, like a straight up like, no, like ska, you said it's ska, reggae, like throw a dart, it's all in there.
It's in there, yep.
Yeah. They do rap a lot, they sing a lot about
I heard that,
Spanish love songs, like Oye Mi Amor, it has love in it. Cachito, that's also a love song. La Chula, Vivicin, they're all kind of these love songs, slower songs. And then you have Me Vale, that it's just like, it's saying like, I don't care. Like, I don't care what anybody thinks about us, thinks about me. It's like, I kind of live to that today. I'm like, whatever, we do our thing.
We do it.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I've been sitting on this for a while. I know that a lot of my family members, and I feel like a majority of Hispanic people can relate to this in some way, to Maná, because everyone at some point has heard it, I feel like. And yeah, if you haven't, go check it out. It's definitely a staple, I feel like, in the culture.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it's very big.
For the culture.
Thanks for the introduction.
Absolutely.
I'm a fan.
Same.
Yes.
We're going to be watching this like the stock market
I
on
know.
Discogs, trying to figure out who's the first one that'll get it.
Even if it's just a cassette or something,
Yeah.
man.
A cassette would be cool.
You got just a physical of it at this point.
Yeah.
Shall we top three?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
Start me off, Jake.
So if I'm starting off, honorable mention, I'm gonna go Oye Mi Amor. I've heard that song so many times. but even listening to it again, it's so good. It was apparently on Rock Band 3.
What?
Really?
Yeah, excuse me.
Interesting.
Apparently on Rock Band 3. I had no idea, and I didn't play Rock Band a lot. But yeah, this was on there.
Fuck yeah.
So that's pretty tight.
Dust off the 360 and see
Yeah.
if I can find a
Right?
setup for
Exactly.
it. Just for that one song.
Top 3, I'm gonna go Cachito, Vivir Sin Aire, and then favorite song Me Vale.
Nice.
Porque me vale.
Hell yeah. I'll go next. Honorable mentions for me, Vivir Sin Ayer. And then De Pies y Cabeza is the other honorable mention. Just such a strong way to start off the album, and it's that very much, it's just wild that that's the introduction. Hey, you're not familiar with Spanish rock music, here you go, this is fucking Spanish ska, so suck it. And then number 3, Me Vale, and then Te Oreo en Rio for number 2, and then Oye Mi Amor was number 1 for me. I just loved the fucking flute on that. It was like some It was like some Donkey Kong country shit. I was like, yeah, let's go. It was very, very fun album, so thank you.
Very fun. I think we all liked some similar tracks for sure. For me, honorable mention was Como de Deseo.
Oh, nice.
That was a good one for me. And then 3 would be Vivir Sin Aire, then Mi Vale, and then number 1 for me was Del Deserito. Yeah, there we go.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
that was my favorite track.
Fuck yeah.
2 of those I was like almost put in my honorable mention, so you and I were kind of on the same wavelength.
Close.
Fuck yeah. Alrighty, that was. I'm not gonna butcher the title of the album.
Say it. You pronounce
De
it.
Jugarán los Niños.
Yeah.
Okay, De Jugarán los Niños by Maná, released in 1992, which was Jake's pick for this week. We'll be right back to dive on into mine, go forward in time a little bit. We just wrapped up talking about De Jugarán los Niños, which by Maná, which was Jake's pick. We're gonna go ahead and dive right on into mine. Another one, as I kind of mentioned at the end of last episode when I brought this up, Jake and I were gonna bring up 2 meaningful albums, and this is mine for me. Choose Your Weapon by Hiatus Kaiyote, released in 2015. I found this album randomly and then fell in love with it, and it has been a go-to for me. It has been on my radar to get again because, you kind of go through some life struggles and you sell shit that matters to you, and this was one I really regretted selling as soon as it happened. So, yeah. Anywho's, I will leave it at that for now. What do y'all got to say?
First, where did you stumble upon this group?
Where was
this? Where's the story behind the band?
So I was fresh out of high school, and I was going to LCC. I was going to get a journalism degree and hopefully work for ESPN doing NFL commentary. And while trying to do that, I was trying to start like a blog. That was it was going to be like music, sports, and just other stuff. And so what I did, because I was getting hella into collecting records, I was listening to music all the time. My group of friends at that point was very much like that was our thing. We would get together and share music. And I was doing an article it was like best albums that came out in 2015. I was basically doing like a best of the year. Okay. And so I was going through looking at what albums had come out, up until that point. And I can't remember if Rolling Stone had done their top article or something, but I was reading it like I just did like 20 albums that came out in 2015, and this one was like all over the place. And I was like, what the Hiatus Kaiyote? Like, what the hell? And there was some relation that they had to like Doom fans were really into him or something, and so yeah, I listened to it, and literally from the first, that weird little instrumental intro track, it was game over. I was fucking hooked.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I love the way the album starts off. It's just like that, wah,
yeah.
And it just reels you in. It's cool to have like an album that has like a story behind it too, like from start to finish. It's not just like this is a good single or this is a good song. It like gives you a whole shebang. So you listen to the whole album and you enjoy the whole album. There's so many cool songs. Like I said earlier, I changed my top 3 this morning because of listening to the album so many different times this weekend. It's got that neo soul kind of DJ-esque vibe. I don't know. There's so many different genres kind of mixed in this band, and it's hard to define them. And I've never really heard anything like them. You could try to compare them to certain genres, but very fun album. I loved it. Atari stuck out to me because of the different sampling, instrumentation used in that. So cool. The song flows so well. The Lung is another good song.
Yeah, The Lung.
Man, they're so unique in the way that they approach music, and like I said a minute ago, they like to just make the album that's, it has like a story all the way through, and you're not just like finding those top tracks. So thanks for bringing it on board.
Of course.
Cool.
It was I was telling you guys before we started recording, I was legitimately had it in my head when we left, last episode. I was like, I'm gonna bring that up even though I don't own it. I was like, fuck it, because I've been listening to it so much lately. And then I went to Moonrock on a Wild Hair one day and just was like, let me see. They never have it, but let me see. And lo and behold, they did. So here you go.
I like the use of the vocoder instrument too. Is such a cool. It's used a lot, but it's not really prevalent. And on this album, you can hear it used so many different ways. I used to have a vocoder and fuck around with it. So it's cool to hear it. Yeah.
Is it fun?
Yeah.
I was about to say, this thing's probably funner than
shit. It was a Korg vocoder, and it was just, it was fun to play around with and make noises and different things. But to use it, I could never use it in a way that was productive or that had like any musical relevance. So to hear it used well is cool. Yeah. It's like, wow, that's what you can do with that instrument. So yeah, great album. Love it.
Yeah, this album is fucking badass, dude. Everything about it. From the instrumentation to her voice is amazing, to the lyrics behind it. Some songs that she's singing, it sounds like chants that she's doing. Like it's like
fucking Swamp Thing.
Dude,
that's cool.
It's a fucking journey, dude. It's such a journey that like every song just like traps you, and you're just like focused on it. Like every time I hear a song on this, like I'm just like engulfed into it. And I mean, like I've been listening to these guys for a while now. When it came out, I hadn't heard of them, but only until recently, like a couple of years ago. But everything about them is super cool. And from what I've heard of other people that have seen shows of them, that it's like life changing.
Yeah, shout out Cali.
So I'd want to at some point get that opportunity. But this album is really cool. Everything about them, and they've been sampled so many times in other music and hip hop, so that's also really fucking cool. So I appreciate this album a lot as well. It's one I've looked for and I've seen at times, and I've regretted not getting it.
I'm looking forward now.
That I'll some point. But yeah, man, it's just it's great. It's great.
It's nuts. The instrumentation behind it is just solid throughout. And I'm glad that I sat on it for as long as I did, because we've brought up a couple different instances of this getting sampled. Molasses is probably like one of the most sampled songs in the past decade.
One that comes up to mind right away is the Anderson .Paak. Without You.
You were singing it over the intro.
I was singing it over the song. Atari also, it's sampled on Duckworth by Kendrick.
And then Fingerprints, Cookin' Soul has used a little bit. So very, very sampled, very popular within music as a whole. Again, she does have a fantastic voice. My roommate, I was playing this the other day, and he's like, is this the, what's the band name? The chick that sounds like SZA? I was like, Hiatus. I was like, a little bit, I get it.
I see it.
But, no, the drum work on it is really what draws me into it. We listened to Molasses earlier, and I'll probably mention that song 18 more times, because it's just that damn good. But like the drum work on that, like toward the end of it, it's like kind of production drums, but he's just still like just speeding, and it's just, it is so wonky, and it it's kind of got it has the same effect on me that like The Wall does. How when we covered that, I was like, I will put this on and just try to listen to 3 songs, and then an hour goes by and I've listened to the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'll be like, oh, I just want to hear Choose Your Weapon into Shaolin Monk, and then it's like, guess what? You're at the end, buddy. I was like, what the fuck? Where'd my day go?
Dude, Shaolin Monk, that beat switch. You know me, I'm a sucker for beat switches, and like when there's a beat switch on like live instrumentation, it sounds so rad.
And when it's done well, yeah, for sure,
it's killer. Also, I liked I'm gonna say La Puta, but that's not how you pronounce it.
La Puta?
La Puta. Her delivery on that is so good.
Yeah.
Her delivery on that is so good. And that's what I'm saying, dude. She sounds like she's like chanting at times. Like, it's just like so enticing.
Right.
Borderline with my Adams.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's a cool track.
Heavenly guitar, dude. Yeah.
And then just to keep, going on her, just her vocals. Breathing Underwater, dude, like the vocal runs that she's doing at the end of that, I'm like, my God. And then, again, it's just so cohesive. Like, they're so in tune with each other, and it's kind of the same thing as, Maná, you're like, just listen to this one and you'll be good. I like their other two albums, but nowhere near as much as I fucking love this one. But it's like they're solid. Like, they know what they're doing, and it's so weird. And it was the first time I'd ever heard the term neo soul, so I was like, okay, I dig it. And I don't think they're from America.
No, they're from like Australia.
I was gonna say Australia.
Yeah, even cooler.
Yeah,
there's crazy shit going on down under.
I like how they're put into that neo soul genre when they're really kind of a lot of stuff, like R&B,
so many things.
Yeah, but like neo soul, it's such like when I think of neo soul, I think of Erykah Badu.
I was gonna say Badu.
Yeah. I think of Erykah Badu, and Erykah Badu was giving this praises.
Damn.
Like
That's cool.
she was praising this album, like for what they did, what they changed for the genre. There's pictures of her and Napalm, like the
It's
girl.
like having the blessing.
Yeah,
The
from
blessing.
the Queen,
Yeah.
from freaking Erykah Badu.
Right.
That is a hell of a fucking cosign. I'm not gonna lie. Like, that's
dude.
straight up. That's how you know.
Yeah, you get like literally the face of the genre telling you, "Hey, you did good. I stamped this. I approve this. Like
Right.
you're doing something right." And yeah, their newer album, Mood Variant, which is kind of a wait, like 2015 to like what 2021, 22.
Yeah, it was like
21
6,
now.
almost 7.
Yeah, that's a little bit of a wait,
Yeah.
but it was also really good. Really great album. I had it at one point. But yeah, all their stuff, man, it's been super good.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that we got an opportunity to finally talk about Hiatus, Kaiyote, give them their flowers.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they're fucking.
I'll show the camera just because.
Some very cool inserts on that.
You gotta love a good insert. You're right, Matt.
Yeah.
And this one is awesome. It's a whole ass sticker sheet.
Yeah.
There's a hyena riding a tortoise.
Like you do.
Two-headed, as one does.
That bottom one, dude, is tough.
The tigers or whatever, the fucking cheetah, double-headed.
I was telling you, dude, it looks like they're wearing like a track jacket.
I know.
From the Olympics.
It's like drill rap outfit. It's like UK drill.
And
It's
then he's like holding a flame.
Yeah.
slow tie
sure.
vibes.
So fucking cool.
But yeah, Hiatus, dude, give them a listen. They're super.
Do
they're
it.
incredible. This album legitimately, like, completely, 2015, like that, like for a couple of years there, that was really like a musical awakening for me in a way, because I was I was on my own for the first time, just kind of like figuring shit out, and then I was just listening, just a sponge for music, and this one really kind of was like a pivotal piece to me getting into so much more, and years later starting this whole fucking shebang.
Awesome.
So shout out Hiatus, shout out Napalm and the folks. Let's get into some top threes. I'll go ahead and start us. Honorable mentions for me: Shaolin Monk, Motherfunk, great fucking song, even better title. And I feel weird to do it, but just these two songs flow well so together. So I got Shaolin and then La Puta, like just the way they come in and that vocal where it's just her at the beginning of La Puta, I cannot help but sing along to it. Number 3 for me, Fingerprints, kind of a more mellow song toward the middle of the album. kind of a nice little tone change. And then number 2 for me, Breathing Underwater. One of the best vocal performances I've heard in a long time from a new artist. And then number 1, Molasses, man. And I think I've said enough about that one. So
Molasses.
Yeah.
For me, honorable mention was the title track. I always love a good title track.
Yeah.
Number 2 for me, or number 3 would be The Lung. Number 2 would be Borderline with My Atoms, and then number 1 was Atari.
Hell yes.
Such a good song.
Nice.
I can't talk enough about that one.
That's a hard. I can imagine why yours changed. Like just even those I could reorder. You know.
I know. I just did.
Yeah.
That's why I stumbled for a second. I was like,
again.
derp. So yeah.
Yes.
There we go.
Honorable mention. I'm gonna go Molasses. Top 3. I'm gonna go Shaolin Monk. The Lung, and then my favorite, Borderline with My Atoms.
Nice.
I fucking love that song.
Very nice. Anyways, that was Choose Your Weapon by Hiatus, Kaiyote, which was released in 2015. My pick for this week. We'll be right back to put a big old fat bow on it and talk about Matt's pick for this week. It's Whatchu Spinnin.
It is the time
Yeah.
to reel it in.
Yeah, let's go ahead and reel this bad boy in. Like a big bass
Big
on a
bass.
fishing trip. And to finalize today's topics, we got to talk about my buddy Matt's pick for this week. So why don't you go ahead and enlighten us? What you got, man?
Close to when the year was released. This is 2014. It's a band called Temples. They're from Kettering, England. The album's called Sun Structures. It's their debut studio album.
Hell yeah.
I never really heard of them and just found them online randomly, like I do, finding new music.
As one does.
And I really like them because they have a very unique throwback sound to some of the earlier music that came out in the late 60s and 70s, for me at least. Maybe not to anybody else, but a lot of the instrumentation that they use on this album, a lot of the pausing and the different breakdowns that they have within the song, just have that feel to it. And I like music like that because it's, I don't know, nostalgic in a way, you know. I listened to some of that music, so I thought that they did a really good job of bringing it to a modern feel, so that anybody that listened to this album could be like, oh, this is unique and new, and for someone like me, be like, oh, this is really cool that they added their own touch to this kind of genre.
Yeah.
It's 2 guys and I think a drummer too, and they, you know, hired other musicians to help them, but they basically created this album pretty much at home. It wasn't like a huge studio thing.
Really?
And you listen to the album and you're like, wow, that's, I don't know, it feels a lot bigger than that.
Yeah,
So I think
it
they
does.
did a great job with the production on that. I've listened to some of their other albums as well, not as similar to this sound, but still good as well. What'd you guys think?
I really, really enjoyed this. You know, as I kind of said earlier, it doesn't. That's why the whole time you were like, "Yeah, it's only 2 people," and they record. I'm like, "What the fuck?" Like when you watch this back, like I'm like, "What the hell?" Because I mentioned it earlier, it sounds like it has such a big sound to it. You know, like I said, it kind of, and it's not like an acoustics thing. It wasn't me bagging on the acoustics. It just sounds like it was recorded in a fucking airplane hangar or a warehouse, which is so interesting that it's, you know, that few people, you know, minus, you know, the hired musicians or whatever. And it does exactly, you're right, very nostalgic feel. I love the use of just multiple guitar effects pedals throughout this album. Like every track, there's a different effect being used, whether it's like heavy distortion, fuzz, you know, all sorts of stuff. So I was very, very interested in this from first listen, and yeah, fucking stellar stuff. Weird that it came out in 2014, because you even look at the album cover and that's like a very The Who kind of album cover picture.
Probably, yeah.
Like
And then
Bob
you listen
O'Reilly.
to it, and you're like, wow, maybe this did come out. Nope.
No, all right.
Not at all.
Hell yeah.
I think you showed me a song of this once, and I heard it, and that was my first introduction to it, but not the full album.
Okay.
And this whole album's really good.
It's
like super consistent. Like they keep the same, like,
that theme is present through
yeah,
all the whole time. For
it's
sure.
all super consistent, and every song is super good. Like literally every song has its own like groove to it, that it sounds awesome. Every song, and like from the start, literally, Shelter's song, it sets it up like it's a perfect feature for like the first song of an album, and it has that like indie rock feel to it.
It does,
where they have it sounds very indie with like the vocals and the instruments. But yeah, no, really cool, and I really liked it, and I really got into it. And the deluxe, I don't know if you guys got the chance to listen to the deluxe.
I didn't. I hadn't heard it before we.
The deluxe is nuts,
I
dude.
know it is.
Like I like this. I like this regular album, but if you like this, you're gonna really like the deluxe. Like the deluxe, some of the songs were fucking crazy.
Yeah. Cool
like
remixes.
what song was it? A Question Isn't Answered. I really like that song regularly, but the deluxe to that, it's fucking crazy. And it sounds similar, but it's like a whole different song. So they kind of made like side A and side B for like every song on this with deluxe. It's really fucking cool.
I wasn't sure if you guys were. I was hoping
check it out,
you guys
dude.
might check it out.
I checked it out. I was like,
pretty
I gotta
cool,
see what the difference is.
Yeah, I was gonna tell you to stop at the last track. I was like, I'll let them.
No, I kept going. I was
They'll
like,
figure it out. They know.
Yeah,
They usually know to stop if there's extra.
I was gonna check it out. I was like, I was hooked. So I was like, I gotta see what everything else is. And yeah, super good. But yeah, the album in itself, fantastic. Fantastic.
I like the album cover too, because they're all like, it's like that typical everybody. I want you to get together, but you look that way, you look that way, you look up, and it's and there's like this random castle from like the 1400s behind them or something.
It's like a 12 by 12 castle.
Yeah.
It's not even very
It's
functional.
your classic band photo, and it's just
It is very
It's good,
typical band photo.
I love it.
It's got a good summertime vibe too. That's why I brought it up. And
Yeah.
I'd never heard of Temples before, and I've checked out some of their other music, and it's similar and cool. But this album is very unique, and it stands out because of that nostalgic sound that they have. And for
How'd
two
you
guys,
find
probably through Pitchfork again.
When was this like recent or?
Yeah, within the last couple months.
Really?
Yeah.
Bet.
I'm trying to find new bands whenever I find them, kind of bring them up if the music's decent enough for that I want to talk about it. But
Oh, yeah, trust me, you and I are in a stalemate right now. I'm fully aware.
yeah. That's true.
We are in a stalemate.
That's true. We're like, who's gonna do it?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a fun album. I like it. Good summertime vibes.
Very.
Good for outdoors and just chilling with people, and you can put it as background music, for whatever.
I like that we all kind of had this unspoken arrangement that we were going to bring up stuff that's very good for season right now. Like Hiatus Kaiyote, great for summer. Temples, fantastic for summer. Maná, again, fucking fantastic for summer. Like,
all these picks.
we did not plan this.
No,
It's
not
like
at all.
it's such a fun time
Not at
to
all.
just like be outside and in nature, and summer is the best time to do it. And having like music to it just kind of ramps up the experience.
It
so
does.
I could see this being played out in a park or with friends, disc golfing, soccer, football, whatever.
Right.
So yeah, it's super cool, dude. I love this. I hadn't heard of their other stuff. This is their debut. That's also cool that when they just jump on to their musical careers and it's such a hit, like it's like you have high hopes for them. I haven't heard their other stuff, but this is good.
Yeah, they're decent musicians. I think before they started this band, they were in other bands for a few years with, both musicians were separated, and then they got together and did their own thing. So you can definitely hear that with how they play and put their stuff together. And the production, again, was pretty decent for just two guys hanging out in their bedroom or wherever it was done.
Yeah. And you mentioned it earlier, the songwriting that went into this is very interesting and unique. There's like some weird pauses and then breakdowns and then just guitar parts that are going wild, and even throughout a song it'll change like effects that they're using. So that's like what kept me coming back to it, was like, what little weird tidbit can I hear this time? Like, oh, the guitar was super fuzzy on that track, I wonder what the next one. So it hooks you in, like you said, from Shelter song on.
The title track's a good example of what you just said. Where there's so many different changes, and you're like, what? Yeah. So I like when a song does that. It doesn't get stale at all. It just keeps you going. So,
And especially to have multiple examples of that on an album, it really keeps you, because it's like standard album length, just under an hour.
Yeah.
So it's not like it's crazy long, but a lot of people won't sit there and listen to an album, and this one is interesting enough that it keeps you going.
It does.
So,
Yeah.
great pick.
I'm glad you guys liked it. Yeah.
When a title track is good also on an album, it like hooks up the album a lot better, and I feel like it's a lot more successful.
I agree.
And the title track on this is super good.
It is.
Super good. And everything on it. That's why I'm saying it's so consistent. Like, it's super consistent, especially for an indie album. I feel like indie albums sometimes will have songs that are, like, hit and miss.
Yeah, or it sounds like, oh, this is, like, we've heard this 1,000
Yeah,
times.
exactly.
Yeah.
Most of the things you
2008.
hear, unfortunately, are like that.
But this one, every song is so good. Every song is so good.
Yep.
And the deluxe, even better. I'm really trying to
check it out. Check out
I'm
the
trying
deluxe.
to sell you guys
Check it
on
out.
the
Check it
deluxe.
out.
The
Yeah.
deluxe is
It's good.
different for
It's
sure.
good. I think you can get that on vinyl too. I just have the
Oh,
regular.
that's cool.
Nice.
I'll dive in the top 3.
Let's go.
Honorable mention for me is a title track, like we all said. It just capulates the whole album there, right there. 3 would be Sandance, 2 would be The Guesser, and then my top track was Colors to Life.
Nice.
Nice.
Hell yeah. You want to go or you want me to?
Honorable mention is Fragments Light. I feel like it's a very soft ending to an album, and because everything else seemed like indie rock, and that one kind of seemed like just indie but without the rock. But top 3, I'm gonna go Sun Structures, Move with the Season.
Okay.
And then favorite song, Mesmerize.
Hell yeah.
Nice. That's a good song. That is a good one.
Yeah. I was going to throw in a question isn't answered and also the deluxe, but I'll leave that out.
Well, I've got you on that. Honorable mentions for me, The Guesser and Colors to Life. Number 3, Mesmerize. Number 2, Move with the Season. And then number 1, a question isn't answered.
Fuck yes.
That was the one that really, like, I got to that one and I was like, wait, has there just been crazy guitar effects this whole fucking time? And I immediately just started over. Like, I got to that, listened to it, and I was like, that song rocks. Have I been just missing something this whole time? And I went back and I was like, oh my god. Like, hell
cool.
yeah.
Dude, listen to the
love
deluxe
that.
on that.
I love
that
that
song. You'll like it.
Yeah.
Okay. Definitely gonna have to.
You'll like it.
Hell yeah.
Right on, guys.
Sweet.
Well, that wraps up the subject matter for episode 54. And with that, we just talked about Sun Structures by Temples, released in 2014, which was Matt's pick for this week. We're going to go ahead and let y'all know what's coming next episode. This is Whatchu Spinnin, episode 54. All right. It's time for everybody's favorite part of the podcast,
Yes, it is.
where we get to introduce each other and, most importantly, introduce to y'all what's coming for next episode. And as per usual, we go in the order that we covered albums today, which means my main man Jake is up first.
So I'm gonna go back to hip hop. I haven't done hip hop what feels like in centuries. Common B,
Damn.
which came out in 05, I want to say.
I believe, right around there, I believe.
I think it's 05, yeah. I'm gonna go with 2005. Common B.
Hell yeah. Haven't heard.
I've never listened to Common, so I'm excited.
I was about to say I haven't listened. I listened to a couple of tracks off that back in the day, but I haven't in forever. Hell yeah.
Excited.
B by Common, released in 25 or 2005 question mark.
2005, yes.
We are from the
2005.
future.
Didn't know I drove a DeLorean. Hell yeah. So B
Dorian?
by Common, and it's getting sideways. Go ahead and introduce my pick now. I don't own it yet, unfortunately, but they did just do a massive repressing of this group's catalog. So I just got to pull the trigger on it. I'm going with Iowa by Slipknot, released in 2001. Their follow-up to the self-titled debut, which we covered on episode 10. Figured 45 episodes is long enough to wait to poison you guys with some more Slipknot. So Iowa, Slipknot, 01.
Damn,
Fuck yeah.
it's gonna be guitar heavy. Heck
Mhm.
yeah. Kind of building off the vibe I was talking about with the 60s and whatnot. I feel like we haven't talked about this artist yet. So Electric Ladyland.
Dude, I was
Jimi
fucking
Hendrix?
listening to this morning.
Were you?
I was.
Dang.
I found this yesterday at House of Records, and it was only $30, and I was like, dude.
Yeah.
Electric Ladyland. Oh man.
I grew up listening to that album, and it's
Yeah.
his best one in my opinion. So
Yeah.
Thank you for bringing this up.
yeah,
For real. There's been a couple of times where I've been like so close to bringing up Axis, Bold as Love, because that's my personal, but that's Electric Ladyland is iconic. My God. I like your little dish right there. You're like, this is gonna be a guitar heavy episode next week. Yeah, fucking Electric Ladyland. After I announced Slipknot, I'm like, damn, okay, bro. Fuck yeah. B by Common, Iowa by Slipknot, Electric Ladyland by the Mr. Jimi Hendrix himself. Shout out to you. This has been episode 54 of Whatchu Spinnin. Great music today, great music next episode. We appreciate y'all for tuning in. It is summer, it's getting hot. Put on some sunscreen and hit the beach, and y'all have a great fucking week or couple of weeks. We'll be back for Whatchu Spinnin episode 55. Peace out.
see ya.